Okay, and here we go. We're starting our haircut. I begin the cut on the right side. So I section off the right side, that panel, and I'll section off the back. So I'll break this and I'll just focus in the beginning on the sides. I comb out a slightly diagonal section, and here I'll elevate the hair, and I'll be cutting a shape that's a bit biased. I'll work it from short in the front to a bit longer in the back. It's just a bit similar to like a graduated bob, but technically I'll work this in a really different manner. I don't want that hard square line through the top. I want it to fall a lot softer and build up my weight through the back. So that's why beginning this haircut, I'm cutting in a shape through the sides that works from shorter in the front to longer as I work through the back, as that will accentuate the graduation through the back area that I'll be cutting in later. Each section, I elevate the hair slightly. Make sure that you're not combing out these sections obsessively. What I mean by that is there's no point in combing out a section 20 times. You need a really clear mind map. You need that intention. When I start cutting, as I comb, so I just comb that once and it's perfectly clean from roots to the ends, and this is my second stroke. I see my guideline and I hit it. So again, less is more. This is really important. I see a lot of hairdressers frustrate themselves and waste too much time just by combing out a section. Because the more you do a repetitive motion, the higher your margin of error becomes. Now through the left side, it's the exact same technique. I'm working for shorter in the front slightly to longer in the back, because again, I want to build up my weight, working with diagonal sections. Now I check for symmetry and balance. Okay, next diagonal section. Comb it out. My stroke count, just combed it once. Prepare my position for my body. It's my second stroke, and I cut the front area. And my third stroke, I comb the hair super clean from roots to ends. And there we have it. Don't complicate things. Always have a very strong intention in your mind of what you're exactly about to do, and your cutting skills will improve significantly because you're using your brain more. My brain is my greatest tool. It's even more important than my scissors, and my scissors are like my babies. Okay, fourth and final diagonal section through the side. Again, watch my stroke count. I let my comb mimic the angle I'll be cutting. I increase my elevation. Just nice and smooth. Comb the hair to natural fall. Assess my shape. Right, and here for the fun part. Round graduation through the back. So I'm working with a curved section. I take my guideline from the front and I angle my comb and my fingers to cut in a shape that goes from longer to shorter. Longer at connect, shorter at the nape. Now when cutting the right side, it's imperative that you ensure that your fingers are aimed high and your elbow is aimed low. So aim your elbow towards the client's opposite side shoulder. If you drop your elbow, it's almost impossible to cut this round graduation technique through the back. So again, watch your stroke count and increase your elevation slightly with each section. Okay, next, diagonal. And this section is a lot bigger than my fingers. So in my mind, I already know I'll have to break it down to like 3 or 4 more smaller, more manageable sections. And as I work towards the nape, my body position moves slightly, progressively to the left, as this will give me the most amount of control. Final section. Finish curved. Increase my elevation. I'm connecting my guideline through the side. Fingers up, elbows down. Always combing the hair perfectly clean from roots to my guideline. Comb the hair to natural fall, assess the shape. And I'll just go and clean up this line a little bit now. Once we're dry, I'll go back and refine it even more. But when I'm cutting, I like everything that's in front of my eyes to be aesthetically pleasing. I don't like looking at like icky, ugly stuff. So just go in, polish your line, and you'll feel a greater sense of confidence during the cut. Okay, now I'm doing the exact same technique on the left side. So here's flip. Here my elbows are high, and my fingers are aiming low, aiming towards that shoulder. So I connect my guideline through the left side, and I'm cutting in a shape that goes from longer to shorter. And her nape right there is a bit jumpy, so I use very, very little tension. If you find that the nape area has like a very stubborn cowlick, or it's a bit jumpy, use less tension. And once the hair is dry, you can go back and refine the shape. I'm standing right in front of what I'm cutting. As I cut this first area, elbows high, fingers low, and I'll gradually pivot more towards the right. Elbows high, fingers low, and again I pivot even more towards the right. Next curved section, I'll increase my elevation. I'll break it into 3 or 4 manageable sections. Remember, after each mini section, I'll physically move towards the right. If you find yourself standing in one position throughout the entire haircut, you may be over directing the hair too far to the left, which will give you a longer length. So again, following your haircut with your body in the right position, you get a better sense and feel for what you're actually creating because you actually become part of that shape. So everything rolls off much more organic. Now connecting both sides. Now take a section right at the crown and I'll over direct strongly to the left. I'll check in that corner. And I'll take that same section, elevate slightly lower, check that in. And here I'm connecting both sides. So with this crown area section, again, over direct strongly. I'll just check in this corner right here. And I'll do the exact same on the opposite side. Come strongly to the right, and I'll check in that corner. Okay, there we go. The back's done. Comb the hair to natural fall, make a visual assessment. Okay, so now I'll work through the top area. Starting at the crown, I'll over direct the hair up and back and just check in that heaviness. Next curve section, again, I elevate and just check in that weight. Now here, if I want the shape to fall a bit softer, I can increase my elevation significantly. But in this case, I want my weight to fall a bit harder, so my elevation is not that dramatic. Again, the amount of elevation will affect the overall aesthetic. Higher elevation, a softer feel. Lower elevation, a harder feel. I want a hard soft enough, so it's not, my elevation is not too high, not too low. So I'm just, again, through the left side, diagonal section, checking in the sides and the back. Next curved section, I elevate, and I check in again, the side to the back. I'm standing right in front of what I'm cutting. And I really like this POV, like video technique, because it adds a much more powerful dynamic. Because this is what we actually see when we're cutting human beings, as opposed to the camera being on a steel tripod. Okay, so now both sides are done. I'll comb the hair to natural fall. Now go in and clean that line just a bit. Just polish up the shape before the finish. Okay, so we'll go in for the blow dry now. Here I'm using the limited edition Ed Hardy dryer. The wind speed is like killer and the heat is vicious. So now just flat wrap the hair. I'll do this finish in high speed. So I just leave the hair a bit and I'm flat wrapping. I just want a totally natural effect, so I'm just using a vest brush. No round brush or it'll become too poofy. Okay, now after the hair is dry, I'll go back and just refine my shape, checking off my lines. And here I'll go in and I'll just remove some weight. As I texturize my shape, I don't want to change my technical shape. It's already pretty nice. I just want to remove some of that heaviness. So again, visually assessing, when I texturize, I'm working in shadows, and I have to take consideration the pink color. I don't want to texturize too much of that out. I'd rather aim for more of the brown than the pink. So again, checking off some weight here. Now even when you're checking off weight, if you increase the hair higher, the end aesthetic will be softer. If you texturize and you elevate low, again, the aesthetic will be harder. So I keep on working until one, it's easy to comb the hair from roots to ends. I just want everything to flow and have a nice organic feel to it. And here to the nape area, I'm just cutting in an asymmetric shape that goes from shorter to longer. Just texturize that line a bit. So again, working in shadows. Remember, texturizing less is more. I can always go back and texturize more. I just don't want to go and texturize too heavy, because once I close my scissors, I can never replace that hair. Now I'll try to leave out that pink area. Here I'll go and I'll clean that line. There we go.